I recorded a video yesterday. I said yesterday. What day was it? Monday? Yeah, Monday afternoon. And I didn't upload it, and I want to upload it, but I didn't work. I literally just talked about what work I had to do and my journey in terms of, finding a new career, or not a new career, a new role in the same career, but having to elevate my skill set and sort of, what it takes to be committed. And some would say, oh, discipline, it's so easy. But if for someone, who lacks discipline in certain areas, especially when it comes to studying, like in school, I never studied too hard in school. I studied just hard enough to not be stupid, but now you kind of have to be more than not stupid. You kind of have to be like knowledgeable, intelligent. Um, so I recorded a video. This is today. What about, yeah, on the 5th? Yeah, so 2 days ago. I did a couple of sessions on the 5th, but I recorded a longer one. I'm not gonna play that. The audio sounds terrible. Is that my microphone or is that something else? I might have had some background noise, but anyway, um, I'm here to work today. I'm gonna upload both videos, update the archives. My phone is here. I'm gonna put it somewhere else. I need to get water real quick. This is my blue. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this does not sound as good as I thought it did. I thought it sounded a lot better than that. Not my friends, my coworkers were saying my voice sounded really good, and I was like, why? They're like, your microphone, everything. I'm like, oh, really? So now I'm looking at my big arm over there, and I'm like, I wonder if that sounds better than this. I wonder if it's a different setup too. Hmm. Water. I threw my cup away. So, long story short, if you're new here, I need money, lots of it, all of it, really. And I think that the best way for me to generate money right now is to upskill in tech, get higher paying jobs doing similar, maybe slightly more advanced work. You can kind of game the system that way. Today, I'm in this session to work on this app I'm building with a friend of mine. I didn't go over it in the last video, maybe I did, but basically the point is to build a foreign exchange trading app, and the app is supposed to allow users to set their exchange rate. So, for example, I think I went over this in the last one, but just to recap in this draw.io diagram, the point is a user can post a chat. Our credentials are invalid. Why? Reload, please. Okay. So you can post a trade and you can declare something about your current financial state. So whether you have money or want money. So you can say, I have 1,000 US dollars and I would like some Naira for it. And you can specify how much. Or you can say, I want 1,000 US dollars and I have Naira. So you can negotiate with parties in the application to decide what the rate should be. And that rate could be whatever you want it to be. It's up to it's agreed by both parties that when you make the exchange, the platform is at no fault for what actually occurred. We just execute the exchange. Users can do this on their own. My dad said that people do it in their own social circles, but he wanted a more public way. I think it's a good idea, right? A public way to do these trades that are controlled by the people and that are more fixed. And so here is a small diagram. I'm not in charge of the front end. My friend David is from LinkedIn. I call him my friend, but I just met him a couple months ago on LinkedIn, and he, was open to the idea. I told him we should collab, and he was like, sure. And I was like, he's like, what ideas do you have? And I was like, oh, I guess I have one idea. And so I gave it to him. He was like, sure, sounds great. And he kind of was just up to working on it. It was weird. Um, So yeah, today we're gonna work on this. I need to pick up Carla for church at 6 something. I said 6 something. At 6 o'clock or 6:10. So I have about 45, 50 minutes to record this, upload both really, and post both videos. So I'm gonna probably post one in this call, and then I'll probably end it and post the other one. But for now, um, so what we have with the app so far is a login route and a registration route, and they take a basic user model to add a user to the app. And so it's an ID, which is a UUID string, email, first name, last name, and a mobile number. The models, the user, require an ID, first name, last name, email, um, and mobile number, and a hashed password. So storing a hashed password is fine because if this were to be exposed in plain text, you would have to guess passwords to understand. You have to guess our hashing technique and algorithm. You'd also have to take a list of words, I guess, and hash them. I did it in my security class. What's it called? Info security, infosec. And we hashed a bunch of passwords and we guessed them by checking the hashes against each other. So that's fine. The point is basically this is a base user class, and the point is to log in and register a user. So this is done. This is functional. Let me show you. My app is still running. I just actually did something earlier, so I can show you what happens when you have an account and try to register again. It'll tell you it returns back, I think, internal server error, like 500 response, and it should return something more useful, like users already existing. But here it said unique constraint failed user.email. So this email already exists, so they don't want to insert the user again. So basically, you have to just log in at that point, and you'll get back an access token. Once the access token expires, the user will be forced to log in again. The application is highly, it's fairly, it has to be fairly secure. So creating this automatic login scheme like on Facebook or Twitter or other apps, it doesn't really make much sense because users don't want accidental trade triggers. They don't want money messed with. So having the users have to sign in every single time is important. Um, Whether we'll use Face ID or have them type in a password, I don't know. But the point is that users should their session should be, I don't want to say invalid, but the user should be forced to log in frequently in order to validate their access. So the access token should be valid for, well, let's see. So now I'm getting into more system design, right? Um, the access token should be valid for some time interval, and that's set in the application. Let's walk through that real quick in the settings. So it expires in 30 minutes. There currently is no system for a refresh token. So the application cannot refresh your token behind the scenes, or can it? They would have to store your credentials on the app, and that's not good either. So we'd have to Face ID. I'm trying to think about ways that other applications do login. There's usually a refresh token. So I'm gonna look into how to get a refresh token for Open API. For Fast API. And let's see. So, huh. Yeah. So I'm leveraging this library called, I think, Jose for token generation. It's so they're just literally making a decode token and it expires at a certain time. If you want to generate a refresh token, let's see what that looks like. So Fast API refresh token. There's nothing in there. Wow. There's nothing in their documentation about refresh token. So let's look at dev.to. It's part two, two-part series running Fast API. Let's look at give a refresh. So there's an auth handler, the login site. Auth handler is called somewhere else. So let's look at auth handler, and that's probably up here somewhere. So they're creating an auth handler, which is from the auth, from auth. Okay, what is in auth? This is part 2. This is the second of a 2-part series. Let's look at the full code. JWT.png user model. It's PNG of what? Oh yeah, okay. So login request, get the tokens. Request token parameter. Okay, cool. Auth.py. Auth has a hasher, which is bcrypt. Using that crypt context again, which is cool. Get the secret string. Encode the password. Okay, where is this being used? I had the same thing in my other example. I couldn't understand. Okay, it's not being used in one place. Why is there an encode password place? What is that for? Ugh, I gotta find out what that's for. Um. Anyway, encode token, payload, scope. Oh, ah, no way. So to refresh the token, your payload is decode. You get the payload from the token. If payload scope refresh, then payload at sub. Okay, sub is like a keyword for the person who owns it. You can put whatever you want in there, but it's basically the idea is that you put some identifier in the token about who owns this token. Um, so a refresh token is a JWT, but it's scope refresh. So I could also add a refresh token pretty easily to the application. Okay, so I'm thinking we need refresh tokens because without a refresh token, the user would have to be forced to log in at some point. So if their access token expires, attempt to refresh their access token and keep them logged in. Or if their refresh token expires and their access token expires, because usually your refresh token is longer than your access token, that way you can refresh the access token multiple times while your refresh token is, valid. Why did my phone go off just now? I don't know. Or why did I check my phone just now? I'm so distracted. So distracted. I saw a video the other day about how the world is filled with ways to distract you, and my phone was way over here, and I literally got it, and so bad. Okay, so with the Django application that we built earlier, there was as I in the last video I went over basically how the Django app worked and what I didn't like about it. And what I did like about it, one thing I did like about it though, was the fact that there was a mechanism for blacklisting tokens. So we can once you refresh a refresh token, you can blacklist it so that that token cannot be used to gain a new access token. Okay, so if you get somebody's refresh token if you somehow get someone's refresh token, you can request via the endpoint a new access token. And so what that means is that a malicious user can get your refresh token, request a new access token, and then be able to make requests on behalf of the valid user who somehow leaked or had their refresh token hacked or taken, right? And so at this point, well, self that was hasher. The hasher is bcrypt hashing, okay? But encode password is not used anywhere. Like it's literally, oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so real quick, so refresh tokens are possible. Where do we hash passwords? Can someone tell me that? Where do we physically, okay, so set password in the form gets password hash, which is a utility function that its password context, which is crypt.hash. So it's a function that takes a secret or bytes, and the scheme is string or none. Optional scheme. Okay. What's category? Huh. Okay. Returns. It'll always be a string, I guess. There's a string for the scheme. Okay, that's it. There's just the secret. So it hashes the password and checks it against a verified password. So the context for crypt context will verify that password. So the secret and the hash from the database. Okay, cool. Sweet. Okay, we have that. That's fine. And it's crazy because a utility function, and I did, pause. I saw, I watched a video on YouTube about how a utility folder or file really should be part of classes, and you shouldn't be using a utility. Like utility is such a weird, like create a custom class for the functionality that you think belongs in a utility file. So for example, all this token verification, this is all a part of creating, it's all part of adding a new user to the application or a login. So there should be like an auth class with functions grouped to do the kind of management we're talking about. So there should be like an auth. Is it utility? No, but it's an auth.py, but it's still utility, but it's auth.py. So but auth.py can be anywhere. So I guess you have to name auth.py better than just auth.py. But anyway, refresh tokens. Possible because of scope. So let's look at JWT scope real quick. Learn something new. Okay. So best practices: understand use case and choose most restrictive scope possible. If you're requesting scopes, make sure you ask for enough access in your application to function, but only request what you absolutely need. Okay. What about API scopes? This is is this what? No, no, no. I need JWT scope claim. No, no, no. I need something else. I need huh. I'll say access versus refresh. Can't access refreshes the access token. Hmm. What are refreshes? How do you use them correctly? Let's see. Um, this post looks for the concept of refresh token not 0. So we have tokens. We know what that is. Token types, access token, stuff in there. Refresh token. As mentioned, for security purposes, access tokens may be valid for a short amount of time. Once they expire, the client applications can refresh a token to request the access token. This is a refresh token is a credential artifact that lets a client application get new access tokens without having to ask the user to log in again. Cool. So single page application makes a request. Oh, sorry. The user access token to get a resource. Okay. Huh. When to use refresh tokens. It's important to keep in mind that auth 2.0 specification defines access tokens and refresh tokens. So if we were to discuss authorization strategies in terms of other identity protocols and frameworks such as SAML, we would not have the concepts of access tokens, refresh tokens. For those involved in web development, access token refresh tokens are common talk because the web extensively uses token-based authorization authentication through Auth 2.0 framework and the OpenID Connect protocol. So Auth 0 or Auth 2.0 is a framework leveraging the OpenID Connect protocol, I think. We combine Auth 2.0 and OIDC or OpenID Connect and bring to life an array of authorization and authentication flows. Each flow has its own set of benefits and caveats, benefit the best scenarios in architecture where we should use access and encryption tokens. So is the client a traditional web application executing on the server? User authorization code flow. Is the client an SPA? Use authorization code flow with proof key for code exchange. Is the client a single page application that doesn't need an access token? Use implicit flow with form post. Is the client resource owner? Use client credentials flow. Is the client absolutely trusted with user credentials? Interesting. However, you may not need refresh tokens. There are scenarios where you can still get access token without interpreting the user and without relying on an almighty power of refresh token. Other examples to keep session going, cookies or silent authentication. Cookies. Cookies are more for like shopping carts. Like each request, you're not access tokens are about accessing protected resources. Token authentication is about I want to be able to do something and I need authorization for that. Doing important things via cookies, not the most secure. I'm not sure why, but token authentication's been talked about everywhere. I need to understand more about cookies versus tokens. Like this web dev stuff you don't cover every day. You guys know what it is. Like I don't cover this at work every day, so it's just like what the fuck. So let's see what the cases are. Right? Authentication code flow. What is that? Oh, there's all kinds of. Oh shit. Okay. So what's authentication code flow? Because regular web apps and server-side apps, because regular web apps are server-side apps where the resource code is not publicly exposed, they can use authorization code flow, defined OAuth2RC, okay, which exchanges an authorization code for a token. Your app must be server-side because during this exchange, you must pass along your application's client secret, which must always be kept secret. Okay, so a user can log into login link, regular web app, authorization code request to authorize your auth 0 tenant, redirect for login, they provide consent, send them a code, the app authorizes the client, so authorization code plus client ID plus client secret to this, and then is it all valid? Yes. ID and access token to the front end app. So the user validated that we could access their stuff, send us this request, and we can now access their stuff in response to it. Okay, cool. Uh, oh, this is everything. Okay. During authentication, mobile and native applications can use authorization code flow, but they require additional security. Additionally, single-page applications have special challenges. To mitigate OAuth 2.0. To mitigate these, OAuth 2.0 provides a version of the authorization code flow, which makes use of a proof key for code exchange. What the fuck does that mean? Key concepts. Learn about OAuth 2 grant type, auth code flow with proof of key for code exchange. Use this grant type for applications that cannot store a client secret as a native or single page app. Review different implementation methods for Auth 0 SDKs. When public clients, native and single page applications request access tokens, some additional security concerns are posed that are not mitigated by Auth code flow alone. This is because native apps cannot securely store a client secret. Decoupling the app will reveal the client secret, which is bound to the app and is the same for all users and devices. May make use of custom URL scheme to capture redirects, potentially following malicious applications to receive from your server. Okay. Single page app cannot securely store a client secret because the entire source is available to the browser. Given these situations, OAuth 2.0 provides a version of authentication. Okay, how does it work? So because PKCE enhanced auth code flow built upon standard auth code flow, the steps are very similar. The user clicks login, generate code verifier, and a code challenge. Authentication code request was code challenge to authorize. So you're challenged. Why are you challenged? Oh, what? Oh, what? Okay, so basically, this is where the captcha comes in, like some code verifier or a code challenge. Redirects user auth0 to the authorization server to authorize them. Your auth0 server redirects users to log in, get credentials, auth and consent, send you back a code. With that code and the verifier, you request a token. If it's all valid, you get back an ID and access token, request data, and you get the response from the user. Okay. I feel like there's so much to learn, but I'm not even sure how to do this. There's so much to learn, so much to learn. Oh, I need to respond to that guy. Oh shit. Yeah, 12/21, right? Is that it? 12/21, auto debit soon. That's in 2 weeks. What? I'm still unsure completely of which authorization mechanism to use and why. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I wrote some code to generate access tokens, but I'm not even sure if we should be using that. This is a REST API that's really meant for just managing notifications, authentication, authorization, authentication, authorization, and then also like data store. All the transactions happen on the user side. So your application is responsible for generating all that stuff. But okay, that's bad though. Because in our application, yeah, so technically speaking, David cannot access yeah, probably not. Not really. What I'm saying is currently the SDK that we're using, I say SDK, the library we're using to actually make transactions, David's hosting on the server side code, but he's using Next.js. So I'd wonder if he's not going to store secrets. Okay. If we end up building a mobile app, that'll be a separate repo, but the REST API should work the same, ideally. My thing right now is which auth flow makes sense. I say best. Authorization uh, with flows. So let's see. I have a lot of tabs open. Let me close some of these. My computer's gonna crash. Well, it's not gonna crash. I just don't want to keep this open. Brag list. I meant to add more to that today. I should later. I can reopen it though. This is the study guide. Okay. This is the notes. Okay. This is our current diagram, but very minimal. Screenshot of whatever this is. Fast API documentation. There was a bit of stuff in here about workflows. In security, and then in security info, there's a link to like, there's a link to I think more documentation on this, but I need to figure it out. Okay, yeah, okay, let's read about this. So OAuth 2 is a specification that defines several ways to handle authentication and authorization. It is quite an extensive specification and covers several complex use cases. It includes a way to authenticate using a third party. That's what all systems with login Facebook, Google, Twitter, GitHub are using. There was an OAuth 1, which is very different from OAuth 2 and more complex, as it included directly specifications on how to encrypt the communication. It's not very popular or used nowadays. OAuth 2 doesn't specify how to encrypt the communication. It expects you to have your application serve HTTPS. In the section about deployment, you will show how to set up for free using Trifec and Let's Encrypt. Okay. OpenID Connect. OpenID Connect is another specification based on OAuth 2. It just extends OAuth 2, specifying some things that are relatively ambiguous in OAuth 2 to try to make it more interpretable. For example, Google Sign-In uses OpenID Connect, which underneath uses OAuth 2, but Facebook does not support OpenID Connect. It has its own flavor of OAuth 2. Okay. There is also an OpenID specification, OpenID versus OpenID Connect. Oh, sick. Okay. OpenID specification that tried to solve the same thing as OpenID Connect. It was a complete additional system. It's not very popular used nowadays. There was something about looking up like other. Hmm. Yeah, so if you want to fill out a form, if you want to like do form data, you can install like multipart. But multipart is client ID, client secret. Huh. For the username password flow, yeah, but we went right to JWT. Where am I? Here. Is a streaming multipart parser for Python. Simple app, http.serve forever. Oh, that's how you'd start a server in Python. Crazy. Huh. In-depth example. So simple app, start response. Make a server. 8123 is probably it, and simple app is the server itself. Serve forever. Curl it. What the fuck is going on? So what is this? Include this because why? Want to? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think in this session, I'm really learning about what it means to like do authentication and like why is that so difficult sometimes. But not every use case matters. Fast API provides several tools using a token. So at work currently, there's a bearer token that gets used for the API as well. Yeah, they don't use like password, username password. They don't have like a single sign-on implementation yet. Um, so let me read this one here. So depends on OAuth 2 scheme. I can look at this in docs. It says this is not, of course, not a front end. So the password flow is one of the ways defined in OAuth 2 to handle security and authentication. OAuth 2 was designed so that the backend or API could be independent of the server that authenticates the user. But in this case, the same fast API application will handle the API and the authentication. So user types in user and password in the front end, hits enter. The front end sends that to the server, right? The API checks that against and gives a token back. A token is just a string with some context, set to expire, it's logging at some point later, it's stolen. It's not permanent, so it won't work forever. The front end stores it temporarily somewhere. These are clicks in the front end to go to another location in the front end app. The front end needs to fetch some more data in the API, put it into authentication for that endpoint. So authenticate or the API, it sends a header off with the value of bearer. The token contains foobar. The content is bearer foobar, and it registers the okay. Okay. Back to the main question. Is this the right authentication flow for this application? Right? That's all I'm really looking to answer is a token the right way to authenticate for an application, like a banking application, like a banking, like I guess, okay, let's do that. Let's auth flow for bank app. Let's see what that is. Plaid has their own. There are many authorization methods, but I guess I'm trying to figure out like good authentication flows. Hmm. Okay, maybe. Oh, I mean, OAuth is a framework for separating your authentication server from your API server. That way, your API can scale. Well, I mean, okay, let's look up OAuth and see what they have to say, right? Because OAuth is a community. Specs, code, articles, events, security, active drafts. Okay. Fast API is a modern, fast, high-performance web framework building APIs based on Python type hints. It includes support for OAuth 2 integrated with OpenAPI, and to link to the Fast API documentation. Interesting. Okay. Django Auth 2 kit for building Auth 2 with Django. Client libraries, you want to do auth on the client side. Automatic, Python social auth, authlib, and then request authlib. Okay. I think my questions now are around modern authentication schemes. Go to YouTube, Google being useless. And Microsoft has so many things about this. Azure. Oh, is modern a thing? for app security. Let's look that up. So web API security, scopes, tokens. Tokens are becoming. Oh, is this ambient coder? I followed aesthetic coder, right? Yeah. I don't want to watch videos while I'm recording a video, but I will. It's in my headphones, right? Is it in my OBS? Hold on. Cut that off. Okay. hmm To all of them. So basic, we've ruled out is not good for this application. Okay. So our application needs to store a password because it's a banking application, and we don't want compromising things on like Google or Facebook to mean something for our application. So, for example, uh, apps like TD Ameritrade and Robinhood, they don't allow you to log in with like Google. They don't allow social media authentication. You have to sign with username and password. So I'm not sure how the app. I'm sure they just use tokens in the background to authenticate like trades and stuff because you're an active user. You're authorized. You've authenticated, meaning you are who you say you are, and you're a valid user. And you're authorized, part of an auth class, to be able to make these trades or perform these actions or call these endpoints. I'm sure with that trading mechanism, they're passing some kind of authentication around automatically in the background. Um, I wonder. So we read about different authentication schemes or flows, right? With the key, proof key for code exchange. That's about the challenges, right? The implicit flow with form post. As an alternative to the authorization code flow, OAuth2 provides the implicit flow, which is intended for public clients or applications which are unable to securely store client secrets. A client secret is secret used by a client application to authenticate with the authorization server. It should be known to only the client and the auth server and must be sufficiently random to be not guessable. Okay, so if our mobile app or our desktop application cannot store information in the app file. Like you have to store the access token somewhere on the user's browser, perhaps. But if we built a desktop app, the authentication flow it can't be that. Does that make sense? Like you can't store, it'd be tough if someone else, like for example, if somebody has access to your computer, like a profile on your computer, let's say it's not password protected, they can just switch over to your account and like maybe dig into the source code files of the application and find that secret. So on a phone and on a web browser, I think it's safe to use JWT tokens. Let's see. Applications that are able to securely store client secrets may benefit from the use of hybrid flow, which combines features of the auth code flow and implicit flow with form post to allow your application to have immediate access to an ID token while still providing for secure and safe retrieval of access and refresh tokens. This can be useful in situations where your application needs to immediately access information about the user, but must perform some processing before, like gaining access to protected resources for an extended period of time. So what's the hybrid flow? Can I see it? No diagram. So the user clicks login. Your app redirects the Auth0 server authorized endpoint, uh, passing along a response type parameter that indicates the type of requested credential. It also passes along response mode parameter of the form post to ensure security. Your Auth0 authorization server redirects the user to log in and author. Okay. I need to learn more about like JWT. It's the token itself is used to access protected resources for an extended period of time. So if I look up like JWT, just look that up. So what is a JWT, right? A token, is a compact, self-contained way for securely transmitting information between parties as a JSON object. When should you use them? Authorization, information exchange. This is the most common scenario for using JWT. Once the user is logged in, each subsequent request will include the JWT, allowing the user to access routes, services, and resources that are permitted with that token. SSO is a feature that widely uses JWT nowadays because of its small overhead and its ability to easily be used across different domains. So it breaks down what it is. Huh. I think for our application, a JWT makes sense. I'm gonna look more into security, and we can continue to develop based off of this. If I have to make a change, I guess I'll just make that change. I need to upload a video real quick and upload this one that I'm currently recording. Um, then I have to, what's it called? I gotta do something. See, I need to go subscribe to Code Aesthetic on my other channel real quick. Hold on. Hello? Code Aesthetic is sick, and I want to subscribe. Whoa. Oh, my shit sounds weird. Why does it sound so weird? It sounded ugly there. I'm subscribed. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's upload. Can you stop, please? Let's open the Finder. This is archive what? This sounds bad too. Okay, I sound fine. I don't know why I thought it sounded bad. This is archive what? This is archive 11, right? I'm pretty sure it's archive 11. Let's check the uploaded content. Yep, archive 11, baby. Archive 11, baby. Let's get it. The upload should be quick, and then I can turn this off and get the fuck out of here. Archives EP.11. Rambling about my problems. Need help staying focused. I'll say focused on important tasks for weeks. Consistency, basically. Nothing else is weird. Not made for kids. It's not made for kids. Yeah, but I don't want to comply with anything, so I just say not made for kids. I don't have any hashtags, something like that. I don't care. Public. Anyone can watch it. I don't give a fuck. EdisonArchives, episode 11. All right, that one's already uploaded. I'm gonna publish it now. I'm going to upload this video. I'll be back real soon. Hopefully with a better understanding of authentication. I understand what authentication is. The mechanisms for authentication today are widespread, but there are some very commonly used methods for authentication. I want to learn more about what's out there, what's being used, what makes sense for this application, and then I'm gonna probably take notes on that. But here's the thing, right? I had this one place I was gonna use to take notes on everything, and I have not been filling it out. I don't take notes on anything. I literally just like memorize everything. And it's like I feel like I should write stuff down. But what I reference my notes, it'd be nice to have notes about that. Like if I could keep up to date with the industry, have like my own personal notes. Hmm. The goal is to keep up with it long term, right? I still haven't got paid yet. I'm kind of mad about that, to be honest. I'm a little upset about that. But I have to go. I need to leave now.